So I was looking at parts here, gaskets, I guess, for the water elbow comes out of the block. This is one of the original things that came with it. I find that hard to believe that that's right, though. You know, blocking off that much of that outlet. I think I'll just cut one, you know, the actual size needed. So over here looking through my gaskets, I'll be able to maybe use a couple of these. The governor one possibly, and this oil pickup screen one maybe. Oil pump's already done. I keep meaning to ask you, anybody know? This came with the kit. I'm pretty sure this was originally from Olson Gasket Kit, but the previous owner had gotten it, so I don't know for sure. But it came with this oil, or not oil, crush washer, copper crush washer. Anybody know what that's for? Because I don't have any idea. Maybe I don't think it's maybe not needed. I don't know. Yeah, that might work. Gasket cut, copper crush washer in there, seal washer, heavy hex nut. And it's actually a stainless steel stud too to prevent some corrosion being in the water jacket like that. Moving on. Okay, looking down inside here, you can see the difference between a one with no washer versus one with washer. It takes up a ton of the play. So that's good. I'll put the rest of them in. There, one in each of the 4 joints. So everything is nice and tight now. Moving on. Worked really well. I put the seals in here. So I put one of the little guys, these, in first. And then there's a little metal spacer washer that goes on next. And then one of the bigger ones, one of these, on next, which ends up inside of the packing gland nut here. Put that on, tighten it up. I'll put the little cross pin handle back in, and I think we're good to go. Yeah, let's work on the fan hub a little bit since we got the parts for that. Dad brought some felt so we can cut out a felt seal from the front here. I just drove out the old outer race. I just put a screwdriver in from this side, caught one of the holes, and it actually came out really easy, so that's good. And then the spacer washer comes out. That actually held it in there, so that's what traps your seal, felt seal, in the end. So now we can cut a new felt seal, put it in there, put the washer back in. After we clean it up a little bit, of course, put our new race back in, and basically put it all back together, and the fan hub should be done. Cut a new gasket for here, for the fan blade. Done and done, hopefully. Your fan blade assembly pretty much done. I got all the new bearing, everything in there with the new seal. I ended up cutting my own seal out of some felt. Just using my punch set, and I actually just put them in the press under a block of wood, piece of felt. Put the whatever size punch I wanted and pressed down, and took the other size and cut the other size. Took a couple attempts to get them, perfectly round, symmetrical. And then I took a razor blade and cut it down to the thickness I wanted. New gasket cut for on the fan blade here. Just put it all together loosely just to make sure everything looks like it works. We got our adjustment here then. So when there's belt tension on it, this will counteract the belt tension because there's a certain amount of play. Loosen this up so I can show you. So the pivots on this shaft here, right? When there's belt tension on it, then you just tighten up this rod and spring, which is the square nut on the bottom, to tighten up your belt. And in theory, you should be running in the center of that. so you got a little bit of, flex for the belt. So that's looking good. You can pretty much check that off the list. Looks like approximately it's lining up where it should. I got scared at first because I thought it was way off, but then I looked at a few pictures and it looks like it's actually right, because if you take a straight edge and put it approximately where the belt is going to be, the front edge of the lower pulley is approximately even with the front of the crank claw there, which is, eyeballing it, looks like what it will be. So I think we're good there. Cross your fingers. I haven't been up to see if the package has arrived yet today. Maybe I'll go run back into town, because if it was going to show up today, it probably should have showed up by now. It's about 4:15 now on Friday. So yeah, if it's there waiting for me, we'll go pick that up possibly. It would be good if it was, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Oh yeah, at least it feels like we're getting something done here today, even if it's not the clutch. It's other things that need to be done. So moving on. Okay, I'll catch you up here. Another beautiful day here in North Dakota. Last night I put one of my incorrect crank handles onto my new shaft, just as a temporary thing, just so I have a crank until the correct cast arm is done at the foundry and we can get it machined up and everything to put on here. But for now, I just had to slightly modify the end of it and it worked. So it's the same way with the kind of D-shaped end on it. So it'll work for now. I'm working on trying to figure out which way this crank handle should store, horizontally or vertically, because I've seen them both ways now. There's different tractors out there with different ways, so I'm asking around and trying to see what the general consensus seems to be there. The manual shows it vertically, looks like. A couple other guys say horizontally. A couple other guys say vertically. So it seems to be kind of could be either way at this point. But I'll wait to decide on that until I get a couple more replies back. So then I can put the pin in the shaft for it to, that's what holds it in the store position. And then I can also put the pin in for the crank here. What else have I been doing? Scratching my head over the clutch some more, but we haven't gotten anywhere there, so I'm not even going to talk about that. I took the rear plate off this morning, and I made a couple of plugs for the old original dowel pin holes. So cosmetically they look clean from the outside, because the new little dowel pin holes are what's actually being used. I cleaned up this rear plate, wiped that all down with some lacquer thinner, so that's all clean and good to go. I'm going to do the same with this now, and then we can cut a gasket and put this back together for now, or for good rather. I think I will make a tracing of this shape, just in case I ever do make a little piece for the top there, to simulate the original flange. But for now, I think I'm actually just not going to do that. I think I'll just put some little plugs in these holes, just so the water and dust and bugs and whatever don't get into the compartment there. And then if I want to add a filler piece later, I can always just pop those plugs out. So, but I think for now, just because, just kind of keep it simple, and because I'm under kind of a time crunch, I'm just going to not worry about that at the moment. Part of me still wants to do something there, but I think for now we're just going to skip it. Yeah, work on something here and I'll check back later. Okay, got the rear all ready here. I'm going to put some sealant on and put the rear plate on for good. I just dry fitted it again with the proper hardware and everything. We should be good to go. As long as it was off, I did some cleaning on the back of the block here and on the side. We'll add some better access up here mainly because we're getting close to paint here. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll be getting a little bit of green shot on something. Rear plate is on the engine for good, all sealed up. I threw the engine back in the tractor. Mainly just so I could have the bottom bolts snugged up for the gaskets to seal properly and everything. And two, I think I'm going to look at a few other fitment things now to figure out what I need to order and, you know, get some game plans going. One, like the radiator, figure out what type of length studs I need for that, and what type of bushings, and some rubber pads probably for here. What kind of thickness those need to be so the hood lines up even. We can look at the hood. We can figure out holes for that. We can figure out where the hole for the exhaust comes through the hood, and there needs to be a ring around that hole, so we can fabricate that. And two, I just kind of been waiting to set that radiator on there. I've been kind of antsy to see what it looks like as a semi-complete tractor. Throw the hood up there, and just kind of, I'm excited for that. So I'll probably do that here now just for fun, if nothing else. Oh, buddy, does that start looking like a tractor or what? This is exciting. Look at that. Really starts to take shape when you put the radiator and hood on it. So I threw the original hood up there just out of curiosity to see how the exhaust pipe lines up with the hole, and it's really darn close. I got the new hood here that came with the tractor. It's a brand new hood, it's just surface rusty, so I'll have to get that cleaned up yet. And then figure out where the holes got to be. Speaking of holes, we still got to drill a little tiny hole in the radiator cap. And we got to figure out what bushing, how tall of a little rubber bushing to put. You can see that it needs to come up a little bit. I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, but it's a little bit low, and we knew that because right now it's just sitting right on the casting. So by the time you, I'll see if I can stand back here a little bit. By the time you space it up a little bit, everything should be square with the world. Yeah, coming together. And of course, it's not a perfect radiator because this is actually the original radiator to this tractor. So, I mean, there's radiator guy, Glenn, Hermantown Radiator, fixed it up. And there was a couple of bullet holes through the core and whatever that he had to fix up. So there's a few tubes that are blocked off. But considering it's a 100-year-old radiator, and as far as he could tell, it tested out good. He couldn't guarantee it because, you know, especially the top plate on the inside was pretty crusty. But as of him testing it, it was holding water, so it should be hopefully good. At least for a while. If I have to replace it down the road, then, you know, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But I wanted to be able to use that original radiator if all possible, because just about every 612 out there has a replacement radiator on them. Some of them are done pretty nice, some of them not so much. But to have an original, I think that's kind of neat. So yeah, the exhaust seems to work. We'll have to get that adapter flange drilled out here one of these days and get that rest of the pipe sandblasted up. And then we'll have to work on the fan shroud here too someday. Get that straightened out. But yeah, pretty cool. I just like just standing back and taking a look at it. Like I said, it's actually looking like something now. Burning a little midnight oil tonight here. I think I'm about call it a day. But I got the fan shroud somewhat straightened out. Got little dings and dents and twists and stuff out of it. I cleaned up all the bolts and nuts, the threads on them that hold the fan shroud on. So that's originally how it is. It's little 1/4 inch square-headed bolts and heavy hex nuts. I got just kind of in the hole the new lip for the shroud. I was kind of checking to see how the fit of the fan was working. I got it kind of centered up and down. I had to put a couple of 3/4 inch spacers under the radiator to get it to come out that way. And then things are kind of square as far as the hood and radiator go with that spacer. So we'll take a little more look at that later, but for now, at least we're in the ballpark. There'll be a lot of fitting needed. But at least things seem to be right, coming together. I'll probably see you guys in the morning. Okay, this morning I did some fitting of the hood. I got that situated pretty nice now. I had to do a little, making sure these corners came out right. Ended up moving the radiator around just a little bit. I had to trim the flange on the end of the radiator just a tiny bit shorter there, so that would sit down nicely. And same with this side, a little bit of fitting on the casting there. So I think that's pretty much ready to commit to some holes. I got what lugs I have sandblasted, loosely put on the wheel here, and the tractor jacked up so I could get a tape measure around the circumference to get some measurements for road bands. I think I got that all figured out here now. It's going to be approximately 13 feet 9 inches long according to the math. We're going to use 4-inch wide by 1/4 inch thick steel for the banding and get 2 of them rolled up. Probably get that project ordered and in the works here soon, so because I don't know how long I'll have to wait for that. So then by the time I have all my lugs and everything ready, maybe we can start working on that then, because I'm going to want to be able to get this thing mobile pretty soon. Because the plan is, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, what I think I'm going to do, I'll probably do like 1 batch of paint to get like the back of the engine and the flywheel and all that internal stuff painted with the engine out. And then I'll put the engine in like it currently is without all the added extra stuff on it. Roll it outside, mask off rest of the tractor that's already painted in the wheels and whatnot, and spray the remainder of the engine right on the tractor is the plan as of thus far. Seems like it would be a pretty handy way to do it. I don't have to worry about touching up bolt heads and stuff then after the fact. I don't have to worry about having to hang it from the lift or set it on something and not be able to paint that. It's relatively easy to roll in and out of the shop that way. I don't have to worry about the hoist. So it seems like a pretty good solution. Then I'll paint all the other bits and pieces separate, of course, and then put it all together and have to do some final touch-up on bolt heads when we're all said and done. But yeah, that's the plan as of right now. Got the exhaust pipe transition piece drilled out and ground up a little bit so the bolt heads sit in there nicely. Hardware figured out, so we can get that sandblasted now, and the exhaust will be pretty much ready to go. I think that's probably it for this week. Got quite a bit done. I'm pretty happy. See you all next week. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Thanks.